Well, they're growing into it right now. They haven't had to carry the leadership role here in the past. Keegan definitely not in the bullpen. There are older guys and more experienced guys. So we've actually had discussions with him about the exact topic about being the leader down there. And he was already doing things on his own before we even had the conversation. So you kind of look around in those situations and you kind of grow into those jobs and you learn how to do it. For Mountie, he just kind of got back and I know he's looking around right now and he's kind of coming to the same conclusion that he's one of the guys now. He's one of the leaders in that clubhouse, and he's got such a good way about him, and it's so good to have him back. Just in the clubhouse and just how he is, his humor and the way he kind of connects with everybody in the room, and that's a form of leadership as well. So they're going to learn on the job on how to do it. It's a big responsibility.
It's probably the first time Gunnar, Adley, big club prospects like that have been on a losing ball club in their entire career.
Sure.
How have they kind of dealt with the unexpected nature of that and maybe grown as players in dealing with how to lose and how to bounce back the next day?
Well, they don't like it. They're miserable. I promise you that. They do not like going through this right now. They're miserable just like the coaches and the front office and everybody right now kind of associated with the unfortunate circumstances of 2025 here. But they're taking it personal. We're putting a lot on their shoulders to own it. They got a big piece of this too in a lot of ways. So, and they're going to be the guys that move this thing forward. So, in terms of how they have grown, I think we're probably seeing it right now because there's no more hiding behind O'Hearn and Mullins and all these guys, Urias and all the guys that are gone. We can't hide behind those guys anymore. These are the guys that are going to be front and center, and this is their team, and they got to own this. So, I think over the next couple of months, we'll see them take on leadership similar to what Mountie and Keegan have done in ways that they probably weren't expecting. And I think in a lot of ways it's going to kind of sharpen them for future years and just make them better.
So speaking of Gunnar and Westberg made a couple of plays yesterday. Even the one Gunnar didn't complete, it became a somewhat routine. And that leadership that you talked about, how important is it for your culture, for the other guys to see those two still giving that kind of effort as if they're in the playoff a lot?
I don't know if they're wired not to play that way, and we do talk about it though. We're talking about, running the bases and playing defense. And if we are going to win some games here in the next couple of months, and it's going to be tough, we're playing teams that have loaded up here for post-trade deadline. You look at our schedule, it's going to be really rough. A lot of those teams are loaded right now with their kind of acquisitions and our subtraction. I mean, we're down to, I don't know, you guys can look at the opening day roster. I bet you there's maybe 10 players left from the opening day roster. So this is a really unique situation right now. The expectation is that they continue to play that way, but with Gunnar, Westy, Jackson, how these guys are, it's not a concern at all. They're going to be like that. And for the guys that are watching our minor league players right now that are in Chesapeake or Norfolk or wherever else, they're watching these games at night. They need to be watching those guys. They need to understand that, in spite of the circumstances, nothing has changed. They played that way from day one.
Carlson's scuffling at the plate.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
Just in between right now. I think, we had some good run out of him, the first time up, and he helped us a lot. When our lineup wasn't too dissimilar there when we actually were winning a bunch of games, kind of going through that Seattle series. But, yeah, he was using the whole field, hitting line drives, getting on base. I think just lately it just feels like he's trying to do too much. It looks like he's trying to drive the ball too much. He's getting an opportunity to play every day right now. There's a lot of pressure on that, and he doesn't want to lose it, let it slip through his fingers. So when that happens, a lot of times we just try too hard. I think that's probably what we're seeing.
How do you relax him? So
he's got to relax himself. He's just got to know he's going to be out there right now. He's got to do the best he can. He's got to swing at good pitches. This is a guy that's played significant time in the major leagues on really good teams. He's played in the playoffs. So, at this point for him, he knows the opportunity. He kind of knows where he's at, and he's busting his butt. I do know that. I mean, he's in the cage right now grinding, and he's out there every day working on his defense. So I think just try to do less is probably the biggest thing, and he's aware of that.
When
we talked to Mountcastle last night, he seemed very okay with DHing, allowing Mayo the time to develop at first. What do you think that says about a player who worked so hard to get to the point where he could be a Gold Glove finalist at first to now take a seat back and allow the younger guy to get the reps there?
Mountie knows with kind of where he's at in terms of arbitration and everything going on, he knows he's got to hit. So he's aware of that. We've talked about it. I mean, everybody in the room kind of knows where that thing's at. So for him, yeah, he would love to play first base, and he's really good at it. But just to have the ability to focus on his hitting right now is going to help him more so than anything. We know he can play defense. He knows he can play defense. He's got to kind of get back to the Mountcastle of old to put himself in a good position for this winter.